You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to post more. You don't need to hustle harder. And you don't need to be someone you're not. But if you finally want to get seen and paid for being you, then you need to start focusing on building a truly magnetic brand experience. Because right now, the online space is noisier and more saturated than it's ever been. Everyone's posting, everyone's selling, everyone's chasing attention. The people in the brands that rise above aren't the ones shouting the loudest. They're the ones creating an experience so clear, so consistent, and so rooted in who they are that their audience can't help but remember them and take action. So today I'm going to walk you through the 5 foundational brand pillars you need to create your magnetic brand experience so you can finally stop blending in and start standing out to the people that are going to move your business forward. Each one of these foundational brand pillars plays a role in creating a magnetic brand experience that makes you clear, memorable, and impossible to ignore. So if you've been posting, showing up, and doing all the things and still feel invisible, this episode is for you. Hey, it's Kary, brand strategist, business coach, and your permission slip to finally stop blending in and start getting seen and paid for being you. Most entrepreneurs think they have a content problem or a sales problem or even an algorithm problem. But underneath it all, they have a brand problem. Because if your brand isn't magnetic, if it doesn't pull the right people in and make them feel something, you're always going to feel like you're shouting into a void. Because you are. Here's the truth. Your brand, and by extension you, is your most powerful asset. Not your content calendar, not your offers, not even your sales funnel. And yet I will bet all my money that it's probably the thing you spent the least amount of time building. Which is why even though you're working so damn hard, it feels like you're always chasing people instead of attracting them. But here's the good news. When you build a truly magnetic brand experience, one that infuses who you are into every single touch point, suddenly you don't have to chase anymore. People come to you. And not just anybody, the right people, the ones that are going to take action. I'll never forget the season where I was giving everything I had. Every morning, I'd sit down with my laptop, brainstorm a new post, hit publish, show up on video, follow all the strategies, and still silence. The only person who showed up for me without fail was my mom. She liked every single post, and I love her for that. But deep down, it stung because I wasn't building a business for my mom. I was trying to reach the people who needed what I had to offer, and somehow I wasn't. I'd go to bed at night asking myself, what am I missing? So I stepped away. What I thought would be a short break turned into 2 years. 2 years of questioning if I even had what it took. 2 years of wondering if maybe I missed my shot. But here's what those 2 years gave me: perspective. I realized I had been so obsessed with the what to post, what strategy to try next, that I never stopped to ask the deeper questions. Who am I actually building this for? What do I want to be known for? What do I want people to feel when they think of me? When I came back different. I wasn't just posting, I was building connection. And this time it landed. People didn't just scroll past me, they saw themselves in me. They stuck around, they engaged, they bought. That shift took me from silence to 10,000 followers in 10 weeks and to a $183,000 launch in 10 weeks. But more than that, it gave me a business that finally felt like mine. That's the power of building a magnetic brand experience. One that doesn't just make you visible, but that makes you undeniably valuable. One that doesn't just attract attention, but that creates action. And one that feels like home to you and unforgettable to the people you're here to serve. So let's jump in so you can do the same. Pillar 1, your brand audience. Let me ask you a not so simple question. Who are you really talking to right now? Because if you're being honest, there's a good chance you're still trying to reach everyone who might possibly buy from me or buy into what I have to say. But here's what happens when you do that. Your words lose weight. They float right past your audience instead of landing in their chest. Let me give you an example. One of my clients came to me completely frustrated. She was showing up every day, posting, doing all the things, and yet no results. When I asked her who she was speaking to, she said, women who want more confidence. And I said, okay, but which women? After some digging, she realized she wanted to reach women starting over after divorce. Women rebuilding their confidence from scratch. The moment she got that clear, her content transformed. Her post shifted from vague, "you've got this" quotes to deeply personal words her audience needed to hear. Comments turned into DMs. DMs turned into paying clients. Look, there's a lot of chatter online these days about how niching down is dead. And listen, I'm not going to get into how wrong that is on this episode. That's a rant for another day. But here's what I will say. What I'm talking about isn't just niching down. It's niching deep. Because when you niche deep, you're not just picking a category of people. You're stepping into their shoes. You know what they're thinking about at 2 a.m. when they can't sleep. You know the questions they secretly type into ChatGPT. You know the exact moment they whisper something has to change under their breath. And when you know them that intimately, your message doesn't just get read, it gets felt. You don't need a bigger audience. You need a more aligned one. And you need it now. So here's your move. Write a love letter to your ideal audience today. Not bullet points, not demographics, a love letter. Tell her what you know she's thinking at 2 a.m. Tell her what you believe is possible for her future. That one letter will shift the way you write to her forever. Pillar 2, your brand personality. All right, now let's talk about you. If your content feels flat, it's probably because you're still hiding behind your products or services or expertise. You're editing yourself to look polished, professional, put together, all the things that you think people expect from you. And honestly, I get it. Just the other day, I saw a thread when someone said entrepreneurs should only post personal stuff to their close friends list in their stories. Like, really? As if the rest of the world shouldn't get to know who you actually are. One woman even commented that she has censored herself so much, she doesn't even know what to post anymore. And that broke my heart. Because if you filtered yourself down to nothing, how can anyone truly connect with you? The real you. Here's the truth. People don't fall in love with your products, services, or expertise. They fall in love with you. For the longest time, I thought no one cared about my quirk, that it was safer to keep things strictly business. But then one day, I casually mentioned my obsession with Christmas rom-coms, and my DMs blew up. Suddenly, people weren't just remembering my tips, they were remembering me, the person. And I've seen the same thing happen with students and clients. One client was terrified to share that she was struggling as a mom of twins, thinking it would make her look less professional for some reason. But when she finally opened up, other moms started flooding her comments and DMs with, "I feel so seen by you." That connection became her brand's secret weapon, leading to 6-figure launches and sold-out offers. Here's the thing. When you show up watered down, you blend in. But when you let people see the quirks, the humor, the human behind the brand, you stop just being another option and become the only option. So here's your move. Pick one piece of your personality you've been editing out and share it this week. Maybe it's your guilty pleasure TV habit. Maybe it's your obsession with sticky notes. Whatever it is, let people connect with you, not just what you have to offer. Pillar 3, your brand purpose and position. Now let's zoom out. Why are you really here? Because let's be real, you're acting like your purpose is to make as much money as possible or to be the trendiest account online. I mean, that's exactly how you're showing up. You're using all the trending audios, you're constantly talking about what you have to offer. And listen, there's nothing wrong with trends or marketing yourself. But if that's all you've got, your brand becomes shallow and forgettable. I remember when I first launched my account, I was posting, and at the same time, other accounts just like mine were blowing up their feeds with trending audios to chase views. On the surface, we looked the same. We were both showing up, both being consistent, both talking about how to grow your accounts and your business. But here's where things differed. Our positionings were completely different. While they were chasing attention and followers, I was building from purpose. My focus wasn't just more followers or more views. It was helping women build businesses that actually felt good. And the result? My launch pulled in twice the revenue of an account with over 200,000 followers. That's the power of positioning with purpose. People didn't just see me as another coach, another guru. They saw me as the one who stood for something different, something deeper. That's what positioning really is. You don't need to be louder than your competition. You don't need the biggest audience. You just need to be crystal clear on what you stand for, because that clarity cuts through the noise every single time. So here's your move. Ask yourself 3 questions and write down the first raw answer that comes to mind. No editing. 1, if I took money and followers out of the equation, why would I still be doing this work? 2, what do I want to protect my people from ever experiencing again? 3, what do I want them to gain that will truly change their life? That's the seed of your true purpose. And when you anchor your brand in that, your positioning naturally becomes magnetic. Pillar 4, your brand messaging. Now let's talk about your message. Here's the thing, switching up content types isn't the problem. Actually, I recommend it. You can post reels, carousels, long captions, TikToks. It doesn't matter. What matters is this. Is your message consistent underneath it all? Because here's what most people miss. People don't remember you because you showed up once or even twice. They remember you because you showed up with the same message enough times that it stuck. Studies show that the human brain needs to hear something at least 7 times before it actually lands. 7, which means if you're constantly jumping from one message to another, your audience never gets a chance to connect the dots. When I grew to 10,000 followers in 10 weeks, it wasn't because I had the fanciest videos or was posting more than anyone else. It was because I was clear. I had a few core messages that I repeated so often and in so many different ways that people literally couldn't forget them if they tried to. I'd have people DM me using my own words back to me. That's when I knew my message had become magnetic. And this is where your brand becomes powerful. Your message is the glue that holds everything together. It's what makes your reels, your captions, your emails, even your sales page feel connected instead of random. It's what makes people say, oh, that's her thing. You don't need 100 different messages, 100 different ideas. You need 2 to 3 core ones that you weave into everything you create. They become your drumbeat, your chorus, the thing that makes people stop scrolling and say, wait, I know her. I know what she stands for. So here's your move. Write down the 3 messages you want to be known for, and then look at your last 5 posts. Do they reflect those messages clearly? If not, start weaving them in immediately. Use different formats. Tell a story in one, share a tip in another, show a personal moment in the third. But let the message underneath stay the same. Keep repeating them until your audience starts repeating them back to you. That's when you know your message isn't just noise, it's resonance. Pillar 5, your brand story. This is the piece so many people skip because it feels too vulnerable, too messy, too risky. It's so much safer to polish it up, to post the shiny numbers, the curated highlights, the picture perfect reel. But here's the truth. Your story isn't a side detail of your brand. It is your brand. It's the shortcut to trust with your ideal audience. Your story is the bridge between what you have to offer and the person behind it. It's what makes billion-dollar brands unforgettable, and it's the same thing that will make you magnetic. I had to learn this the hard way. After my first big launch, I shouted the revenue number from the rooftops, $50,000. The strategy worked, the funnel worked, and on paper, I looked like the definition of success. But what I didn't share was the part that mattered most. That the morning after, I was sitting on the bathroom floor, crying, so burned out I couldn't even celebrate. I kept that part hidden for 2 years because I was terrified people would think less of me. And then one day, I finally shared it, the real story, the human story. And you know what happened? My audience leaned in closer. I got messages from women saying, thank you for saying what I've been afraid to admit. That one raw story brought in more trust, more sales than every polished post I have ever shared combined. Because that's the power of story. It doesn't just connect, it sticks, it resonates. And I've seen it happen with my students and clients over and over again. One client was convinced that her audience only wanted quick tips and strategies from her. But when she finally shared the messy middle, the season where she almost quit, her DMs and sales exploded. Not because she had the perfect caption or the right trending audio, but because her people saw themselves in her. That story turned into followers and clients overnight. Here's the thing, you don't need to compete on price or on who has the fanciest funnel or even on who's the most qualified. You compete on story. Your story is what humanizes you. Your story is what makes you unforgettable in the moments where every other post looks exactly the same. Your story is what magnetizes the right people to you because they aren't just buying what you do. They're buying into who you are and what you stand for. So here's your move. Go back to that one chapter of your story, the messy middle, the bathroom floor moment, the personal why that fuels your work. Write it out in all its raw, unedited detail. Don't share the polished takeaway. Share the human version. Because that's the piece that will stop the scroll, build trust, and remind your audience that you're not just another option. You're the one they've been waiting for. Your audience, your personality, your purpose and position, your messaging, your story, these just aren't boxes to check. They are the 5 foundational pillars of a magnetic brand. The difference between being remembered and being completely forgotten. Between posting every day with nothing to show for it and building a business that feels alive, aligned, and profitable. And here's what I want you to hear. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to post more. You don't need to hustle harder. You don't need to be someone you're not. But you do need to decide who you're talking to. You do need to let people see who you are. You do need to stand for something bigger than likes or trends. You do need to choose a message worth remembering. And you do need to tell the story that only you can tell. Each one of these foundational brand pillars works together to create your truly magnetic brand experience. Your audience gives you clarity on your marketing. Your personality makes you resonant and relatable. Your purpose and position gives you authority in a saturated market. Your messaging makes you irresistible and memorable. And your story builds trust that turns followers into clients, customers, and brand partners. But if you don't start focusing on what truly moves the needle for your business, you'll keep spinning in the cycle of doing more and yet feeling less seen every day. You'll keep watching people with half your experience, half your heart, and twice the noise pass you by. You'll keep blending in when you were never meant to. You were meant to stand out. This is the moment to claim your space, to build a brand that isn't just profitable, but personal, not just visible, but unforgettable. And that's exactly why I created Brand from Scratch, the only branding course you'll ever need. Inside, I walk you step by step through building each one of these magnetic brand pillars and so much more. Students tell me all the time that this course is life-changing, not just for their business, but for how they see themselves. Because once you know how to build a truly magnetic brand, you don't just get seen, you get remembered, trusted, and paid for being you. So if you're ready to stop blending in and finally create a brand your audience can't get enough of, head to the link below. And remember, your magnetic brand is already inside of you. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about letting more of you show, because you are what makes your brand so damn special.